Hey guys, it's Angelo here. So recently, the developers of Dead by Daylight Behavior did a bit of a live stream, and they talked about doing various balance changes to various killers, and they also talked about the picks and the kill rates of various killers, implying that the kill rates is what they tended to focus balance changes around. I wanted to go over, there were some stats that they shared, and I wanted to go over a few of them, mostly just a few of them that kind of caught my interest, and maybe a little bit of a discussion about why the idea of balancing around kill rates is potentially a really stupid idea. So you have all the various killers down here along this bottom line here, and for starters, you see Nurse over on the left, and that's probably the thing that catches your eye. And I should mention that, like, this is kill rates and pick rates in red ranks. So these are, the supposedly top tier, highest of the high players. Of course, we're all aware that rank means absolutely nothing in this game. You don't get anything for being in red rank, and being in red rank doesn't mean you're a better player. It just means you've played a whole bunch. So, now the fact is that we have Nurse at a 6.58% pick rate with a kill rate of 57%. That means that 57% of players that go up against a Nurse have been killed by them. However, this really doesn't mean anything because, by the logic of this chart, you would assume that Nurse is just the worst killer, the worst in the game. Anyone who's gone up against a decently skilled Nurse knows that that is not the fucking case. We are all aware that going up against a decent Nurse is misery. This kill rate is heavily skewed by a lot of people that try to pick up Nurse, try to learn her, try to learn how to use her power, and there's a lot of people that, for your first 100 games of Nurse, you're going to get 4 escapes every fucking time. You might get 1 kill if you just tunnel the absolute shit out of someone, but you're not getting many kills if you're learning Nurse. For your first 100 games, you are maybe walking away with 1 kill, 2 if it's a nice day out and the entity feels like granting you some pretty generous hits. But up against a good Nurse, there's no accounting for player skill, is what I'm talking about when it comes to Nurse. Now, granted, her being on this side of the chart is probably totally fine. It should be where she is because, the good Nurses make this bar go up, and the bad Nurses make this bar go really far down. So could just be exactly as intended, honestly. She's a difficult killer to play, so honestly, this is probably fine. It starts to get worse and worse the farther right you go. However, I will mention that Huntress, you can see down here, it's kind of hard to see. I don't know exactly how well this translates to your screen, but you can see that she has the highest pick rate of all the killers in red ranks, which is kind of interesting. 9.41%. It is the highest killer pick rate out of anyone here. I want to say it looks like Plague is the lowest, unless something is less than 2%. No, nothing beats it. Plague has the lowest pick percentage, and Huntress has the highest. And I can see why, because Huntress is really fun to play. Out of all the killers here, she's just the most fun, at least to me. So, Wraith has a very nice kill percentage at 66.66%. Just perfect. Nobody gets the 69.69. The closest that comes to it is the Hillbilly at 69.74. We were this close to greatness. But as we get to the right of the chart, we see that Myers has only 1.5 less of a kill percentage than Spirit. In what universe is Myers anywhere close to as good as Spirit is? At all. And in what universe does it appear that the Pig, Bubba, and the Doctor managed to beat out a Spirit? In terms of just how difficult they are to play against, in terms of how easily a killer that's decent with them can absolutely destroy you. Now, the Doctor, I kind of understand with that. The Doctor has both fantastic tracking and fantastic chase, a pair of abilities that really no other killer really matches. He can find people easily, and he can deny people vaults very easily, which allows him to down people very easily. So with those two combined, I can see where the Doctor is probably higher up than anyone else. Freddy just has the biggest, but I mean, it's Freddy. it's easy to get that many kills when your games last for literal hours. And that's the thing I want to point out, is that this chart doesn't take into account add-ons. This doesn't take into account perks selected. This doesn't take into account the perks that the survivors brought or the items that the survivors brought. This doesn't take into account maps. Freddy is good on pretty much every map because he just shuts everything down. Nurse is technically also good on every map because, again, she also just shuts everything down. Bubba is not good on maps with lots of windows and lots of vaults because that is his big weakness. And yet he's rubbing shoulders with some of the best up here. But granted, I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to do any sort of tier list or anything. I'm just saying that a chart like this has to, by its very nature, ignore so many details about the game, so many things that aren't taken into account. This doesn't if you remove all the Freddys that run swing chains and the other slowdown add-ons, basically if you remove Forever Freddy from this, where does he fit in? Where does he go in? I'll tell you where he probably sits. Over here. To the left of Nurse. Or at the very least, much farther down on the list than he is. Freddy's a decent killer. He's strong. I can't really speak for just how strong he is, and I can't speak for how he plays in Red Ranks because I'm not there. But I have a feeling if you take Forever Freddy out of this, he scooches over a lot. And another thing that this chart doesn't take into account is this is the Red Ranks, yes, but it doesn't take into account what I think this chart really reveals. And what I think this chart really reveals is that some people get up to Red Ranks as killer playing killers that they like, that they significantly enjoy. And when they're in Red Ranks, well, I'll just keep playing the guy that got me here. I get ridiculously good with that guy. And so all of a sudden you have what appears to be basically just kind of random killers in the top spot. You have most of the licensed killers at this point because a lot of people probably got into the game and started playing as them. They got into the game because of these guys, and they just kept playing them when they got to Red Ranks. So that's what I think this chart really reveals. I think this chart reveals honestly nothing about the game as a whole, and in fact is often contradictory in some cases when it comes to rating how powerful killers are. I think it more often reveals that just the people that are on this side, the right side of the board, are killers that people enjoy playing as and play them a lot and therefore get really good with them and have much higher kill rates with them because of that. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I just want to get some of my thoughts down before I forgot them, before I completely lost track of everything. I ain't got really nothing much else to add. Maybe you guys have something to add in the comments, but I'll see you on the next one. And don't worry, streams are coming back. I know some people have contacted me missing the streams. I ended up doing morning shift at my work, so I wasn't able to do my streams because I was busy, getting sleep and working on during the times I'd normally be streaming. But they're coming back. They're starting back up tomorrow. Be there. I'll see you there. Later.